Hey Cashers, Derek here, Big Six Clan. Today we're going to take all the information that we got back in part 1 and we're going to put all that into the builder. Let's get started. So when you get your email from Geocaching HQ saying that you have been awarded an Adventure Lab, there are several links in there that you want to really pay close attention to. Of course, your guidelines. Go back over and look over the guidelines. Then there is the Adventure Lab Builder Guide. Look at that, and that's going to change as they change the guidelines throughout, as they're building more and more of these Adventure Labs and people push the envelope a little bit more. They may add some guidelines and they're going to have to make some tweaks to the Builder Guide as well. So pay attention to those. And then you also have your Adventure Lab Builder tool. Now that's the app that you're going to be going into to start creating your Adventure Lab. Now when I went and read the guide, I kind of knew by reading the guide what I was going to need to be putting into the Adventure Lab Builder tool. So that's what I was doing last week when we were on the video, going through all the different locations and scouting those out and getting all the information. And then there's also a link to some inspirational tips. So you want to look at those. But remember, this is your Adventure Lab and you want to share it with others and you want to make it fun and for everyone. So let's go ahead and just jump in here real quick. One of the things that I did when I started going through everything, when I was researching, that I made a document, and in that document I put in all the information that I was thinking of putting into the Adventure Lab, from the name to the description to all the different locations and the coordinates and everything. So when I was going through building this, that way when I got to the builder, it would make it a lot easier to pretty much just cut and paste everything into the builder. When you go click on your link to your tool to get into the builder, this is the screen that you see. You're going to want to sign in using your geocaching name. Now remember, this link is exclusive to you, so you don't want to share it with anybody. Very important that you don't share it. So we're going to come over here and we're going to click on New Adventure, and it opens up the screen. So Adventure Title. Now the title that I've chosen for this adventure is Memphis Most Famous Resident. So I will enter that in there into the screen, and then adventure description. Now what I did is I kind of went through a whole bunch of different descriptions and kind of tweaked it out. So I will take this and I will put my description in here. Okay. Next, you want to come up with a cover image. Now, this can be a lot of different things. Now, it also, remember, here it says, choose an image, the best that represents your adventure. Recommended size, 1125 by 1050 or larger. So, I will go and choose my file of what I want it to come in here. So, there's the image I'm going to use. I'm going to use this image right here of Elvis, because I thought that looked really good. And this image is 6,000 by 4,000. So I'm going to put in one of the addresses. Now this is one of the addresses for one of the locations, and this was going to probably be one of the most noticeable ones. Of course, this is the address for Graceland. So with this address of being in for Graceland, and that's going to give me the starting location. Now below here it says customize access code. So this is going to be a code that you're going to use to access this some other time. So once again, do not give this code out to anybody. This is a code for you to use to get into it. So I'm going to enter in my code, and then I'm going to move on to the next step. Okay, so now it has brought me to this next screen, and it says Memphis Most Famous Resident. It has your description right here. Edit. So if you click on edit, you can go back and you can edit your information on your front page. Okay? And then you click on update adventure, and it goes back to here. Test. This is where you can go in and test your adventure. They'll give you another QR code where you can go and test it. Delete. Obvious reasons. Delete. Okay. Leaderboard. In the leaderboard, it'll show you how many has finished it and the locations and all the information there. Top first 10 to finish the adventure participants, and it kind of gives you the stats on that aspect of it. Okay, so that's your leaderboard. Activity log, that shows you the different activities. Now, that's kind of the overview of that page. Mobile Smart Link is over here, and I've blacked out the QR code and everything as well. So what you can do now is come down and create new location. Now on this screen, up here at the top, of course, you have location title, location description, and then you have your YouTube link. If you want to do a video at the beginning of it, you put your YouTube video right there. Okay, and that's optional. Some people are doing that as well. Down here, cover image. So this is the image that's going to be when they look at the location on the app. You'll see that picture there. That picture needs to be 1,125 by 10,050 or larger. So, but it has to be under 10 megabytes to be on there. Then you have where your location is going to go, location coordinates. You can enter the address, or you can enter in the coordinates. Down below is your geofence distance, and it goes from anywhere from 20 meters all the way up to 100,000 meters. And if you don't put a geofence on there, geocaching is going to eventually put a fence on there for you, but it's just going to be at the maximum. Now you do want that to be large enough that, say, if somebody from out of the country is in the location and they don't have data service, they can be able to get into a Wi-Fi area and be able to log the cache as found, or the adventure is found. So I'm leaving mine at 100 meters because where these locations are, there should be Wi-Fi in all those different locations. The next one is the question. So you want to put your question in there. Come on down and you have your answer area. Now this is where you're going to put your answer, and as you see, the answer can only be 50 characters. Next is your YouTube video URLs, and this is what's going to go in the journal itself. Now if you're using a video in the journal, it'll eliminate, if you come down further on down, you'll see where it says put picture and then a completion message. If you use the video in this part of it here, these two things will not go into the journal itself. It'll only be the video. And then once you're done, you hit create location. And you're just going to go through each one of this page for each location that you're going to do, and you're going to place all the information in there. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to create this location, and then after each of the locations that I create, I always go and test each time afterwards to make sure how it looks and how do I like it. Once you get all your locations and everything's ready to go, then you go up to your front page, and where it says this adventure is off, you click on the little triangle and you can select if it's going to go private or public. Now here's what's really cool about Adventure Labs that I really think. You can choose if it's going to be a private adventure. So if it's private, which means only the people that you send the QR code will be able to do that. Now there's been instances where, say, it's a corporate organization that wants to use this and only for their people to use it, they get to do an adventure. Now another one that I thought of would be, we have St. Jude here, and that's a cancer hospital for children if you don't know what St. Jude's is. How cool would it be to set up a private adventure lab for the patients and the families to be able to do the adventure lab and not worry about having to leave the campus and being exposed to other people that may be sick, so they'd be in a confined environment, but gives them something to do. So that's another reason why you might want to select this as a private. And then if you're ready for everybody to go play it, then you click on public and it is ready to go. I hope you have found this very helpful. I know personally I learn a different way, so I'm a very visual learner, and I wanted to do this video to help those like me that learn that way. So, but also I did find it very useful to look at the guidelines and the guide builder because those things are going to be changing as this entire platform evolves. It's very early in the stages of it, so things are going to be changing, so those guidelines are going to be being updated in the builder as well. I would love to hear from you. If you've built an adventure lab and you have some other tips that you want to leave, hey, leave me a comment down below. I would love to see those and find those tips as well, because that'll be helpful for others that are building these labs. If you have any questions, send me an email at derek@behindthecache.com, and that email is also down in the description. There are different ways to be able to get your adventure lab out published. Once it's published, how to get it out. And there are Facebook pages, and I'm going to have some of those Facebook pages down in the description as well, so check those out. But hey, thank you for joining me. But don't go anywhere. Check out one of these other videos just right over here and check out the story behind the cache.